I found the safe house by accident. At first, I thought it was abandoned like every other place in Knox County. Boarded windows, locked doors, no lights, no movement. Just another empty house surrounded by silence and infected bodies rotting in the street. But the second I stepped inside, I knew something felt wrong. Not dangerous. Not at first. Just wrong. The house was too clean. That's the first thing I noticed. No dust. No overturned furniture. No signs of panic. Most homes after the outbreak looked destroyed. People ran, fought, died. But this place looked untouched, like somebody cleaned it every single day. I remember standing in the kitchen staring at a mug beside the sink, still wet. Not dirty, wet, like somebody had used it recently. I checked the entire first floor carefully. Living room, bathroom, garage, storage closet, nothing. No survivor, no infected, no bodies. But the supplies made no sense. Canned food stacked perfectly in cabinets, fresh water containers, medical supplies untouched, even gasoline stored safely near the garage. It was too perfect. Any survivor in Knox County would kill for a place like that, and somehow nobody was there. I should have left immediately. I know that now. But after weeks of sleeping in abandoned cars and collapsing buildings, the safe house felt like heaven. I locked the doors, covered the downstairs windows, and for the first time in weeks I slept in a real bed. That night I woke up around 2 a.m. Not because of noise, because of vibration. The entire bed shook slightly, very softly, like somebody heavy was walking somewhere nearby. I grabbed my flashlight immediately and listened. Silence. Then another vibration. Slow, rhythmic. Thump, thump, thump. Coming from above me. I stared at the ceiling for several seconds before remembering something important. The house didn't have a second floor. I checked earlier. There was no staircase, no upstairs, just a small attic space sealed shut above the hallway. But the footsteps continued. Heavy footsteps, moving slowly across the ceiling. I told myself it was the roof settling. Old houses make noise all the time, especially during storms. But then the footsteps stopped directly above my bedroom, and something scratched against the ceiling. Long, slow scratches, like fingernails dragging across wood. I didn't sleep again that night. At sunrise, everything felt normal again. No sounds, no movement, no scratches. I almost convinced myself I imagined the whole thing. Stress does horrible things to people after enough isolation. Still, something kept bothering me about the house. I started noticing little details. Objects changing position. Cabinet doors slightly open. Lights I knew I turned off glowing faintly at night. Once I found muddy footprints near the hallway. Bare footprints. Human. Too large. And leading toward the sealed attic hatch above the corridor. That hatch became an obsession after that. I couldn't stop staring at it. Every time I walked past it, I felt watched. 3 days later, I finally decided to open it. I dragged a chair beneath the hatch and pushed it upward carefully. Dust fell into my face immediately. The attic above looked completely dark. Too dark. My flashlight barely reached more than a few feet inside. At first, I saw nothing unusual. Insulation, wood beams, boxes covered in dust. Then my flashlight landed on something near the far wall. A chair, positioned facing directly toward the attic entrance. Like somebody had been sitting there, watching the hatch, watching me. I climbed halfway into the attic trying to get a better look. That's when I noticed the smell. Rot. Not infected rot. Something older, wet, almost sweet. My flashlight shook while I scanned deeper into the attic. Then I saw another chair, and another. 5 total, all facing the hatch, facing me. I climbed down immediately and shut the attic door. That night the footsteps returned. Louder this time. Faster. Not walking. Running. Something was running above the ceiling. Back and forth. Back and forth. Thump. 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 The walls vibrated with every movement. I grabbed my shotgun and aimed at the ceiling for nearly an hour. Then suddenly everything stopped. Complete silence. A few seconds later I heard breathing directly above me. Slow breathing. Wet breathing. Exactly above my bed. Then a voice whispered softly through the ceiling. Please don't leave. I froze instantly. The voice sounded human. Weak. Almost sad. I didn't answer. The voice spoke again. You're the first one who stayed this long. I grabbed my backpack immediately. Every instinct screamed at me to leave the house. But while packing supplies, I noticed something horrifying near the kitchen wall. Tall scratch marks. Dozens of them. Like somebody had been counting days. The marks continued behind furniture I hadn't moved before. Hundreds of scratches covering the wall, and written beneath them in faded black ink was a sentence. IT walks when you sleep. I left the safe house before sunrise. At least I tried to. The front door wouldn't open. Not jammed. Locked. But I never locked it from the inside. I rushed toward the back entrance. Locked too. Every window downstairs suddenly looked wrong. Not boarded from outside. Boarded from inside. Like somebody wanted to keep people trapped there. The footsteps started again above me. Slow. Patient. Following my movement through the house. Whenever I moved rooms, the footsteps moved overhead, tracking me perfectly. I remember screaming, "Who's up there?" Silence. Then the attic hatch creaked open by itself. Very slowly, dust drifted downward into the hallway, and from inside the darkness above I heard the same weak voice again. "You're making too much noise." The emergency broadcast radio sitting on the kitchen counter activated immediately afterward. Static exploded through the house. Then the familiar, emotionless voice returned. Occupants detected inside Safehouse. The weak voice upstairs suddenly changed. No longer sad, no longer human, angry, violent. "You shouldn't have let IT see you." Something heavy slammed against the attic floor above me. Then again. The entire ceiling started shaking. Wood cracked overhead. Dust poured into the hallway. I ran toward the garage and smashed the side window open with my shotgun stock. The second the glass shattered, the footsteps upstairs stopped. Complete silence. Then one final sound. A low laugh. Not loud. Not insane. Just amused. I crawled through the broken garage window and ran into the street without looking back. The fog outside had started rolling in again. By the time I reached the end of the block, I looked back at the safe house one last time. The attic window was open now. A silhouette stood inside it. Tall. Too thin. Perfectly still. Watching me leave. And sitting beside it were 5 empty chairs facing the street. I never returned to that neighborhood again. But sometimes while sleeping in other shelters I still hear footsteps above me. Even in one-story buildings. Even underground. And every once in a while right before falling asleep I hear a weak voice whisper from somewhere above the ceiling, "Please don't leave."